Hello, welcome to the next edition of 5 deck lists. Sweet deck lists. Today I got 5 decks to talk about. These are the mid-range decks. I just got done recording the tempo and the aggro, so hopefully my voice can get through these last 5 decks. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think about these lists. Which is your favorites? Which deck would you like me to see me play on stream or whatever? I want all that down in the comment section. Let's get into these 5 decks, talk about them, and go from there. Let's get into it. So first on my list is a blue-white Metalwork Colossus deck. Of course, we have 4 copies of Metalwork Colossus, 4 prototypes, only 3 on the portable holes that I could see. Then we have our 1 glass casket. It's additional little bit of removal. Kind of nice in a heavy aggressive meta. We have 1 boots as a way to give our Metalwork Colossus haste. And then we have, of course, 4 foundries and 2 iron cracks for a little bit of ramp on turn 2. Then we have our 3 pinions as a way to also pseudo ramp us while giving our Metalwork Colossus flying. We have 2 invitations to give our Metalwork Colossus a little bit of unblockability plus draw a card. We have a couple counter spells on the main board. Kind of nice to be able to protect our Colossus, stuff like that. We have 2 Thousand Moon Smitty as a way to have an alternative way to win the game, along with the Sicrolum Synthesizer as a way to also make a bunch of gnome tokens that are huge. We have 3 brass knucks, it looks like. Not 4. It's a nice card because it gives basically 8 mana value, right? Because it actually does keep the mana value. So it does reduct the Colossus by. We have 1 Forge for a little bit of extra card draw, plus 2 Smiths to help dig. Sideboard though, we do have we have a Torpor Orb to stop green, other stuff like that where they have a bunch of ETB triggers. Another Forge in the yard for grindy matchups. For aggro, we have additional copy of Glass Casket plus Shadow Spear for a little bit of lifelink in those matchups. 1 Pithing Needle to stop Planeswalkers, activation-based combo decks. Get Lost for a little bit of enchantment removal. You know, kind of a catch-all Planeswalker removal. 2 Dovin's Vetoes against control mid-range combo where they don't play a lot of non-creatures. Actually, they play a lot of non-creatures. 2 Damping Spheres for Lotus Field and plus maybe potentially Phoenix / green. 2 Hearses for Phoenix and Fang. 2 Redains is a nice way to stop ping damage plus burn damage. Torpor Orb, like I covered that a little bit earlier. Kind of nice against green. The cat loops. You just kind of name it. It stops a little bit of the most important decks in Pioneer. 1 Stone Brain for a catch-all. Exile to Fairies, Wandering Emperors, anything like that for an opponent's deck or their combo. So that is Metalwork Colossus for Pioneer. Let's get into the next list. Through PayPal, I'm offering for $20 play your deck through League. I also give you an article about how to improve the list, and as well as some sideboard guides in very particular matchups. If you want to check out the link, it's in the description. Now, let's get back into the video. Next on my list is a mono black mid-range pile featuring 4 copies of the Unstoppable Slasher. That basically, when it deals damage to our opponent, they basically lose half their life after the damage is processed. We have 4 Bloodletter of Alcazads as a way to double that damage from the Unstoppable. There is no other pseudo way of getting basically an infinite win. So Archfiend of the Dross, it's just a solid bodied creature. Can block all day, close the game out relatively fast. We have 4 Duresses in the main plus 4 Thought Seizes. Good against interactive pieces against our deck, as well as combo and control. We have 4 Pushes, 3 Edicts, 1 Go for the Throat for the aggro matchups, mid-range matchups, where we kind of want to remove certain key pieces to slow them down enough to where we can win the game. For our grindy parts of our deck, we do have 2 Bank Busters and 4 copies of the brand new Draw an Extra Card on your end step. Sideboard, we do have 2 copies of Cut Down for a little extra removal, plus the Edict and the Meat Hook Massacre. 2 Mystery Shadows for a little bit of Graveyard Hate, plus our Hearses. Shadow is really good against mono green. We have 3 Go Blanks for a little bit of Graveyard Hate additional to the Hearses. Especially good against Phoenix. Even combo decks and control. 2 Meat Hook Massacres as a way to fight through aggro. We have a Shieldred as a alternative way to win the game. Draw a bunch. Opponent draws a bunch. Like with Phoenix, they kind of lose the game by their own draw damage. And Evoke Despair for grindy matchups. Keep in mind, Go Blank is even good against control because they do play Memory Deluge. It's kind of nice to be able to exile their yard, get rid of that deluge out of their yard, while also disrupting their hand count. So let's get into the next list. So next on my list is the Boros talent list. I hate these decks. I really find them boring. But they decided to go a little bit spicy today with 2 copies of Nahiri. The new card, of course, they are playing as the Overlord of Mowers. Man. It's a nice way of making additional 2/1s tokens that trigger talent, draw more cards. Plus, you can get it off of Nahiri, and then it bounces back, recast it, get more tokens. We have 4 Marches, 4 Torches, 3 Get Lost, a way to fight through the aggro matchups. 3 High Noons as a way to fight through aggro and combo like Phoenix. Sunfall as a way to, get rid of a bunch of aggro threats. 4 Fable the Mirror Breakers to help filter out the cards that are not good in certain matchups game 1, which is actually kind of nice. Against control, you don't really need March. Against something like Phoenix, you don't really need probably March. So depending on the matchup, you kind of want to filter out your Get Lost, Torch, or March, or maybe even possibly your Sunfalls or your High Noons if they're not relevant. Carrot Cake for a little bit of token generation plus your Emperor. Emperor is a little more grindy plus removal. We have 4 Fountain Ports as a way to make tokens as well as draw cards. And our alternative way to win the game is a Westfield Abbey. So we could sack a bunch of creatures, transform it, smack face for 9 damage. Against aggro, we do have 3 Lockdowns as a way to exile their small creatures. Chandra is nice against control, where they can't really counter it. We could just get a bunch of emblems, ping them every single turn. Wear and Tear for a little bit of artifact and enchantment removal. There's too many matchups where you actually want both modes, which is kind of a nice additive to Wear Tear. 3 Rest in Peace for Graveyard Hate for Fang and Phoenix. 2 Bases for aggro. And that is that's Boros tokens for Pioneer. Let's get into the next list. I am now offering Patreon and Locals content exclusive. It includes sideboard guides, budget guides, exclusive videos, as well as other types of content. If you want to check out the link, it's in the description. Now, let's get back into the video. Next on my list is a Mardu Fang list that's featuring the new FOMO plus the Overlord of Balmork, which allows them to mill 4 cards and return a creature from the graveyard to their hand. That's not Overlord, of course. Like I said, Fear is a nice way to make your Parhelions attack twice in 1 turn, which should be lethal. 4 Bloodtithe Harvesters, it's just a premium 2-drop. With Fable, it's even more broken. Fable's really nice because it allows you to play a very good mid-range plan, while also just having the out where you could just pitch your Parhelion or your Sky Sovereign, get them back with a Fang, and just win the game. We have 3 Bitter Triumphs as a way for a little bit of removal for artifacts, for creatures and planeswalkers. 4 Thoughtseizes for hand disruption. against combo and control. Then we have a couple Sky Sovereigns, nice addition, plus the Fatal Pushes for aggro. We have a couple copies of Croak set for a little additional grindiness in case we want to reanimate it and deal a bunch of damage, attack, do whatever we want there. Sideboard though, we do have 3 Duresses for combo and control, 1 Vanishing Verse. Keep in mind this is a little awkward against mono green, especially if they find the draw with Leyline. Then their creatures are all colors. It makes this card useless, but it's still a good removal spell in many different matchups. 3 Bank Busters for grinding matchups, 2 Elesh Norns to stop green, as well as other decks that have a bunch of ETB triggers, like the Cat Loop. We have 3 Portable Holes for the Prowess matchups. We have 3 Hearses for Fang and the Mirror, plus against Shredder / Phoenix. So that is Mardu Grease Fang, which is a little bit more of a traditional mid-range pile approach to a Fang deck. This deck should be able to get Delirium relatively consistently, but we got one more deck to cover, and let's get into it. So last on my list is a deck that Colin has been working on, and I've been trying to help him. So I'm kind of excited that someone actually 5-0'd with this. So this deck list is trying to, of course, play Epicure, Harvester. They basically make 2 permanents for 1 card. Plus, you have Fatal Push, Bitter Triumph, Torch as nice ways to being able to interact with our opponent and getting rid of the prowess creatures or whatever to prolong to the mid-range plane, which is when this deck wins. We have 4 Thoughtseizes for control and combo. Then, of course, we have our Bandit's Talent as backup way to win the game. We can just hand disrupt our opponent, deplete their resources, and then make it where they take 2 damage per turn, plus whatever damage the Viper does. What I like about this deck is it leverages into the Hopeless Nightmare, which is a 1-drop, make your opponent discard a card, lose 2 life. Later on, you just sack the Nightmare as a way to scry 2 plus get your Viper down. We have a couple Mutavolts as an alternative way to attack your opponent. 3 Cases as a 2-for-1, right? You get a body, the enchantment, so for 1 card, which helps with Viper. Even helps find your Viper, which is another main problem that I experienced. Other than that, we have 2 Fountain Pours, 1 Mirrorexes to help make tokens so we can sack them to Viper. We have 2 Mutavolts because it is a snake. I guess it's also, a reasonable creature. But sideboard though, we do have some Duresses for combo and control. We have a Fatal Push for additional removal, plus our Act and Triumph and Children's Edict. Come Back Wrong is a nice removal spell that technically will come back. On your side, you can sack it to your Viper, so it kind of helps with that a little bit. Then we have 2 Go Blinks for enchantment hate and of course control. And then we have 1 copy of the enchantment removal for 3 in black for 3 mana plus a Jengatha. So that is our deck. It is a little weird though that our sideboard is not 15 cards. So it's a little light there. Let me know down in the comment section which one of these mid-range decks would you have considered playing, or I should consider playing on the channel. And until next time, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Shout out to all my supporters, and if you want to see any other content from me, check out either one of these 2 videos and playlist. And I'll talk to you soon.